Hi, and welcome to the Dawn Show. I'm Dawn Stensland-Menti. We are live and we are local. So here's our number, 866-472-8868. I hope you call and join the conversation. Today, a place built by volunteers and inspired by love. It's the story of a playground that's the first of its kind in South Jersey. It's called Jake's Place. Well, Jake is now in heaven, but his tiny life made a huge impact. His grandparents, Lynn and Jim Cummings, are here now to share their story. It's so good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
We have the Kleenex box. I can't provide it for you, but I've got it for Jim and Lynn. So tell me a little bit about your grandson, about Jake.
Well, Jake was full of life. We did know before he was born that he had a major heart disease. He had half a heart, hypoplastic left heart syndrome. And so at the same time that he was born, there was also an Olympian. And you might know him, he was the snowboarder. Mm-hmm. And so we had this tiny little baby, only 2.5 pounds, born with heart disease, and at the same time, in 2005, an Olympian.
Had the same disease.
So we had all the hope in the world. And in fact, he survived 4 major open heart surgeries, all of which were successful. And
which is unbelievable.
It is.
What you as grandparents, what your daughter and son-in-law went through, and the baby went through.
They went through so much tragedy.
And it inspired our daughter to change careers. She decided that if she was going to be Jake's nurse, which he needed, he had 14 different medicines that he took every day. And he was quite fragile, though he didn't look quite fragile when he
look at that face.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He was always smiling, always. You look at how beautiful that is. Yeah.
And that's your daughter, Kate.
That's our daughter, Kate. Yeah.
And that's Jake.
Oh.
And she decided shortly after he was born to become a nurse.
So she changed, and she just recently graduated, right?
She did. She
Yeah.
did. It's taken her this amount of time because there's been a lot going on in her life, and she is a full-fledged GN right now, and soon to be when her boards are finished, an RN. So, and then she's going on for her BSN. So
Which is great.
It is.
She wants to help moms like herself that went through the same kind of situation. That's her goal.
Well, you know, so you went through Jake's surgery and a lot of prayers and a lot of hope. And of course, he was a playful baby, right? And loved, I mean, you recognize this baby loves to play. He values his play
That
time.
was the thing that came to us when we decided to build Jake's Place. Jake was most happy on a playground, but he couldn't play there. So he went just to hear
He was really tiny because he had heart disease. He couldn't really grow, so he couldn't even get up the. Most playgrounds have steps,
Mm-hmm.
so he couldn't even get up the steps.
And a lot of playgrounds have that mulch or the ground itself.
Right,
is
it's
tough
not
for any kid with a difference.
They can't navigate. That's
The playground's a place of joy. He liked to be around all the joy and the noise and all the other kids screaming and yelling, and so.
And he
just
did his
loved it.
occupational and physical therapy there almost every day. And the reason that the therapist chose to do that was because even though he couldn't do it, he could see other children doing it and they were laughing and smiling. So that was his, I guess, inspiration for him to try. And he did. He kept trying harder and harder. So a playground serves so many wonderful purposes that we don't even take into consideration. You know, sometimes moms just think, oh, well, let's let them run around and get some of their activity out, but it teaches children so many different things.
And so after Jake then went to heaven and you went through that devastation and in your grief,
Terrible sorrow.
how did you then come up with saying, let's build a playground in honor of Jake so that all kids, no matter who they are, no matter what they're going through, can play in a playground?
Well, we didn't know it was going to be a playground. It could have been anything. Could have been, as Lynn always says, it could have been a park bench. But we wanted to do something to honor this beautiful little person that had been in our lives. And we were so upset. And so we started to ask Kate and Joe, what do you want to do? What can we do?
But what was the catalyst that made that happen was Jake died in October of 2007. And in November of 2007, not even a full month later, friends of ours, the Tillies, Amy and Mark Tilley and their 4 boys, have always given holiday gifts in the name of someone or something of importance to them. And so we've been the recipients of that. And they called in November and said, this year we want to make our year-end gift in Jake's name. And I said to her, I said, Amy, we're not ready. And she said, what will it take to get ready? And I said, oh, I don't know. It's not our decision. We have to go to Kate and Joe.
Yeah.
And I went to our daughter, and she was so depressed at the time. You know, her eyes were closed almost all the time. And I told her what the Tillies wanted to do, and she said, Mom, I don't know what you mean. I said, honey, I don't know. It could be a park bench, it could be a gymnasium, it could be a playground. And she literally stood up and she opened her eyes and she said, could it be a boundless playground? Well, I didn't know what a boundless playground was. But anything my daughter was going to ask for, she was going to get. So I said, sure. And with that and the $5,000 that the Tillies gave us, we went to the county. My husband, Pennsauken was very generous. They offered us land, but we couldn't, we figured, oh, it would take us $1 million or more just to put in the streets and the parking. So my husband said, let's go to the county. Let's ask the
We went to
county.
the county just not to get a no.
Yeah.
That was our only goal. We knew we were walking in the door very idealistic and saying to them, guess we want to build a playground and could you give us some ground? And we kind of figured, gosh, they must have people coming up with crazy ideas all the time, you know? And we are both professional fundraisers, so we thought that maybe that would be a little bit of security. And they were very nice to us. I don't think they talked down to us, but on the other hand, I don't think they believed us either. But they said, sure.
They believe now.
Oh,
Sure,
yeah.
we do have this
Yeah.
playground needs to be replaced, and if you'd like to replace it, yes, you can do that. And so we walked out without, with it not a 100% enthusiastic yes, but a yes, and that's all we wanted.
And
that's
we
when
had
we started.
only $5,000 and a giant dream because this particular boundless playground cost $500,000.
$500,000.
Regular playground, $75,000.
So when our conversation continues, we're going to talk about building that dream.
Okay.
And many of you helped build that dream. Jake's Place. You're watching The Dawn Show live. We're going to talk more when our conversation continues.